My guest is not late. She just thought it was 9 o'clock. And I thought, it was hello.
Hi.
My guest is here. Oh my God.
Fine, thank you.
Have you managed to position your phone, or is that your iPad or your phone?
Yes, I think I'm okay now.
Hi. Okay, hi.
Hi.
Hi. My guest today is a woman out of Africa. This is a woman who has a very fascinating story. We've started in a kind of a pace, but interestingly, a lot of people stayed to join in this discussion. Yes. Now, Abiola, this is Abiola Bawuah. Some people call her Marafatu, isn't it? I like that name. I wish I was called Marafatu. I just wish I had a Muslim name. One of my dreams was to marry a Muslim who I don't want to be one, but it would be nice to be married to a Muslim and have a Muslim name. That was one of my dreams. It never came true, so it's fine now. I've grown up and decided I don't want to do that anymore. However, very pleased to meet you. Now, I want all the listeners to know that a month ago, a friend of mine sent me a video clip of you in an interview. It wasn't even a full clip, but it was you talking about your life and talking about how you made it and became a CEO, and you actually described it as a rags to riches story. It was fascinating. And then in the midst of it all, you said you went to Achimota school, and yes, you didn't know how you got there, and you did all of these things. And I was so overcome by your story that I said, I want to meet this lady. And I was just saying it. I said it to my year group on a year group thing, that watch this video. I really want to meet this lady. And one of my classmates replied and said, I know her. I've taught her and I can connect you. Just like that. And that is how we met, isn't it?
Yes.
And then we had a phone conversation, and it was as if we've known each other. We laughed and talked, and it was so emotional. My world. I have to let people see you. I have to let people know that there is somebody like you. And I want children, especially young people. I have all my nieces across the globe watching you right now. I want them to see somebody who has a story. You have a story to tell. Before you came on, I have also, it looks backwards to forwards because of my camera, so it's like a mirror thing. But I have lifted it up for everyone to see this book. This book is for 48 hours. However, I have read it so much. Now, this is because I read it and then I go back and I'm like, eh? Then this is that sort of book. Now, who said that there are no miracles in this world? Who said there is no God in this world? If you don't believe in miracles, or if you don't believe in a higher power, today we are going to have this chat. And I want you all to watch. And meanwhile, can I just say to you that today, when I sent my advert out again, I have had 6 people just within an hour of sending the advert out saying they know Mrs. Bumpo and she's their mother. I was shocked. They know Mrs. People have sent me her photo, and everyone is saying they believe you because she has been such a powerful influence in their lives. So I'm telling you, you met an angel.
Amen.
Do you want to tell us? Do you want to tell us about Mrs. Bumpo before we start all of this? Do you?
Mrs. Bampo is my mother.
Yes.
I met Mrs. Bampo through her daughter, who happened to be my mate. We went to Form 1 together. Her name is Lydia Bampo. And Mrs. Bampo didn't pay my school fees. But it got to a point, because I wasn't really in school, I didn't have anybody pushing me into education. I wouldn't have finished the school, but for Mrs. Bampo. Because even though I entered that water school because I had a good grade, I did not see the value of education. And so because she decided to hold me, her hand was at my back. It's like an orphan child having somebody to mother her. So she was always inviting me to her home. So it was by gaining that insight that I saw the difference between where I was and where they were. And so I think that encouraged me. That sort of like sunk my feet onto the ground. So it's not just about the money. I've had all the money, but I never saw the value of education. It was bloody waste of time for me. But she provided that hope. She made me to see that there's a bigger picture. And so that is why, it's part of why I wrote the book, that we all can put our hand behind one girl or girls in our community. But I believe that if not because Mrs. Bampo gave me a home or provided me a platform to see the light, I wouldn't have finished.
So do you want to tell us how you started? I've read about how your father started his life, and that made me, I was crying as I was reading the book. And then I got to you, your birth and your life. Do you want to start from there? Don't tell us too much, because I want people to buy the book. There's the book, people. You need to buy. But if you can give us, because you're talking about Mrs. Bumpo and how good she was to you, but do you want to start so that it gives people the kind of idea of how important she became in your life as time went on?
Yes, like I said, this Bampo was my uncle. Okay, remember I was coming from the background where education was not anything to write home about. What are you going to do? Even when you finish school, the impression out there is that even when you finish school, the school is not going to give you working capital. He's just going to give you a paper. So why waste your time there? And also for a girl child like me, school was not encouraged. I mean, for what? What are you going to do in school? You need to go and help your mom. Now, I had Mrs. Bampo who was providing me her home. During holidays, I spent majority of my time in her home. So I brought that civilization to my family. I saw a difference. She provided a home. I remember Form 4 when I needed to go for classes. She provided me her home. It was through her that I got to know that it was a better life. And so I also sold it to the rest of my siblings. So it's not just me alone who is grateful to Mrs. Bampo, but my whole family, because today, all the 16 of us are educated. Remember that there's an African proverb that says that the back horses always look at the front. So once I caught the fire, it spread. So all my siblings are equally well educated. So I look back and I know that I did not finish school because somebody was paying for my salary, my school fees. I knew where I was before she took me up. Okay? So because she gave me that opportunity, she did not neglect me. She took me as one of her kids. So for me, if I write today, I will dedicate that book to her. Thank you.
Okay. So what was your childhood like, and how did you get to the, Achimota School?
Okay. My background, I grew up in an Islamic society. We virtually lived in Zogos, and education was not encouraged. Worst case, girl child. It's not done. We married very early, by 16 years. She start producing. So education was not at all on the table. It maybe the boys just for enough to be able to train as a tailor, as a barber, not to go to university or anything. No, that wasn't part of the picture. So I grew up, luckily for me, I grew up with these boys. There were 4 boys and I was a girl. And my dad wanted to just get rid of me from the house. I mean, like, follow the boys. But God being so good, I was exhibiting some little advancement about
Interest.
the boys. So I started enjoying it, because when we come back from school, my dad will compare reports and will be like, refer to has also done well. So I was just moving along with the boys. I wanted to play football. I wanted to be like them. So we started going to school. Then one day, a friend of my dad said, look, why do you want to keep these children here? Why don't you let them go to the boarding school? So that was how I followed the boys to the boarding school. I think it was Jepi School, Odoko. So we were there when someone else advised our daddy to send us to the boarding school in Temadatus. I don't know whether you've heard about Temadatus.
I think I have. Not Tema.
Yes,
Datus that I knew it was in Dansoma. Yeah.
Yes, there was one in Dansoma, there was one in Bubiachi. So the boarding school was in Tema. So they went. At that time, my parents were of the view that maybe after class 6, I would just be tired and then, yes. So my parents were being put under a lot of pressure, immense pressure, because what is this girl doing in school? So I told my daddy that, okay, you should let me finish my class 6. Then when I finish, I will drop her. Luckily for me, I wrote the common entrance. I did brilliantly well. So I was in Togo when my parents were bringing the boys, my younger ones, back to school. So I then followed my dad just to see him off. I wasn't coming to any school. When I got to that school, I had topped that. So they were making noise, and my daddy said, what was the issue? They said, you didn't know your daughter top school. So what is the meaning? They said you should go to a school. I didn't even choose, I didn't know I needed to choose a school. It was the teachers who chose the schools for me. So I asked them and they said, oh, my first choice was Achimota, I should go there. So that was how we got to Achimota School. And in Achimota School, they had resumed. But this is where the angels story came in. There was one Mr. Duncan. I don't know whether you remember him. He was the
I
clerk.
don't.
He used to roll those papers. He had paid for my admission fee. And you know, those days, they'll give you a period to pay, within which, if you don't pay, you lose the admission. So Mr. Duncan paid the admission fee. So it was Mr. Duncan was another angel. School had resumed. So my dad couldn't take me back to Lome. So he was forced to allow me to join Form 1 girls. So if Mr. Duncan had not paid, or I had not come with him to see my younger ones off, I would have given birth to your grandchildren by now.
Mr. Duncan, you know, when I was there, it was Mr. Roberts. Mr. Roberts was the one who...
Duncan. Is that not his first name? Also, Duncan.
Oh my God! God bless Mr. Roberts.
Yes.
God bless Mr. Roberts. Oh my word! Oh my God! I'm totally flabbergasted at this one. Wow.
But for him,
oh God.
So the old man couldn't take me back. Yes, with glasses. The old man couldn't take me back, so he had to leave me, and that was how I entered Form 1. So the agreement to leave school at class 6 had to be extended to Form 5. So there was an agreement after Form 5, then I was going to drop off. And that was where Mrs. Bampo Dems also came in. But by the time I finished Form 5, they knew that they couldn't convince me to leave school.
Oh, because now you had got into the system proper.
Now things have changed. Civilization don't change. Friendship have changed.
So, what about your parents though? Because they wanted you to finish and then come and help your mom and then start doing some trading and etc.
Yeah, if you look at the book, you realize that I mentioned that my dad was not giving education. So he made up his mind not to be the cause of my not going to school. Okay, so he wanted to just do it in a moral suasion kind of thing. So he wasn't forcing, but the society, the large society, was against me, was against my mom, was against my dad, and they were mounting pressure on them. Once in a while, they approach me myself and they tell me things like, husband, you this girl, you get a husband. Why won't you marry now? And so there was that pressure. But my dad, one reason or the other, wanted me to be the one saying I'm tired. So he was just, throwing it in slightly. But I think after Form 5, he gave up.
God bless your dad too. My God, is your dad still alive?
He's my hero. I pamper him a lot.
Wonderful, wonderful. Because your dad, regardless, I was reading that they got to a point where he was totally shunned by the community because he was educating you and not allowing you to get married, etc.
Yes, because they were laughing at him. And they were shunning him because remember, the Islamic, I want to be very careful here, the Islamic society frown on West. So what happens is that the more you educate a girl child, the more you become a rebel. You want to wear your rasta, you want to wear your jeans, you want to wear, those things are frowned upon, you know that. So they started shunning him. And I was very good in Islamic education. So the Islamic teachers took it upon themselves to humiliate him. So when they go for functions, he turned the topic how people are, they are not good Muslims when they don't train their children in the Islamic ways. So he became the topic for their preaching. He greased them and they wouldn't respond. So it was a lot of pressure on him, that I know.
Then he must be very proud that his faith in you and the fact that he had invested friendship, religion, everything in you, and you had not put him to shame?
Oh yes. Today I'm not a small girl in my community. I am Obama in my community. I'm a reference point. I think he is. I think he's very proud. I think he is. Because now today everybody's daughter, they refer me to them. They make me their reference point.
They use you as the role model. You are now the role model.
They want their daughter to be like me. Yeah. Can you imagine?
Wow. So at that time, and you went to sixth form, and then you wanted to go to university, but did you want to be a banker then? And I know what's in the book. I'm asking you because, sequence of events kind of thing.
In sixth form, after I finished form 5, I read English, I read maths, economics, French. So I wanted to read accounting. So I applied to University of Lagos, and as Department of Actuarial Science, you needed A-level mathematics. So they decided to take my script to that department because I had A-level mathematics. So I did actuarial science. And because I read actuarial science, my mind went automatically to insurance because it's statistics, probabilities, circumstances and things. So I had insurance in mind. So when I finished university, I came down to Ghana and I wanted to work for insurance companies. I wanted to work for Snake. Candy, there is God. Because I did everything possible. They will interview me. Somebody will say no. Some will not call. So I had to start from the Ministry of Interior under NADMO. Then from there, I went to write stock exchange exams. From the stock exchange, then I went to work with a law firm. Then from there, I went to trade on the stock exchange. Before the stock exchange, the firm I was working with disengaged me from his work. And then I just wrote my CV and walked to a car bank. And that was how I joined banking.
Wow.
Yeah.
So banking wasn't your plan at all. You
No,
didn't.
not at all. I didn't even think I qualified. On a more serious note, if that man had not sacked me from his company, I would never have thought that I had what it takes to work in a bank. Remember the banking then, there were less than 10 banks in the country. And people used to say that you needed your father, the board chair, and all those things. So I never applied. But once the man sacked me, I knew there was a bigger God behind me. And I did not know anybody in Cal Bank. I just walked there and took my CV. And the HR manager there was called Frances. And she decided to give me opportunity. And that is it. That was how I got into banking. And ever since, I never looked back. And that is why I believe that there's a God. I believe that your destiny is not in the hands of any human being. Candy, wherever you need to get to, you will get there. It may delay, but you will get there.
I believe it. I do believe it.
Yes.
Now, when you talk of success, right now, you in a year, I think, was it 2017 or so, you got 7 awards for banking. Was it 2017? And also,
2016, 2017, yeah.
Yeah. And then after that, almost every year you get a different award, and it's all around banking, marketing, business, that sort of thing. So how would you empower other women? Because this show, my show, Kiki's Chat Show, is really to empower women, young girls. It's to make people actually see that your worth is within you, and however much you strive, you will get there. You just have a plan. Sometimes you may not even have a plan, but if you are working steadily, the plan will come. So I want to know how you made it for the people who are watching to understand exactly how your strategy was, if you had one.
Well, I give God the glory. I don't think it's about a formula. However, there are basic things that I think are true. One of it is that you just mentioned it. Your worth is inside you. Your boss cannot define you. You have, you know what you are made up of. And no matter the challenges you have gone through, it is part of the success stories. Most of the time, we look at the problems that comes our way and we define ourselves within the problems. That is wrong. That is what we women do best. We look at the struggles. But Candy, my life tells me today that if today UBA says I should leave, then I know that my next level is arriving. So what I always, people ask me, Abiola, you don't seem to shake. Nothing shakes me. All I know is that I must be within divine path. I am a banker today. There are ethical boundaries. I must live within that boundaries. I must do my work to the best of my knowledge. I must be a mother and I must be a wife. So I have gone through it all. Sexual harassment. I tell people I've been fired twice. Bosses have fired me for no cause down. But you know what, Candy? It was all part of the stories. What I went through rather should define your next level. It has defined my leadership. Now I understand what it is when somebody says, I am not well. I understand what it is when the staff is getting harassed. If you didn't go through it, how will you advise it? So I believe that every day is a grace. And in order to get to point B, you need to go through certain steps. Don't divert. Don't try to jump over anything. Go through it. At the same time, you need to know that is part of the journey. And once you go through that, you arrive. You know, Candy, no matter how dark a room is, there is always that small light in between them. It's tiny. And that is what, as a girl, for women out there, that is my encouragement. You may be going through the worst situation in your employment, in your marriage, in your career, whatever. Just know that it's part of the journey. And so keep climbing it. You will soon get to that light. And once you get to that light, you see that it's a very mistake. So for me, that is how I have navigated my journey. I've gone through it all. In fact, what you saw in that book is just 30%. It's just 30% of what I went through.
Wow.
If I wanted to write and write, I feel bad. But it is not about it. I'm not bitter towards them. I still believe that it was part of the journey. Today, people talk about my leadership everywhere. People talk about the fact that I don't hold it. I don't hate people. And all the people who report to me, one way or the other. So I look back and I said, oh, okay, it's based on the lessons I learned from my bosses. Good, bad, evil. You get it? So I have nothing against anybody. I'm just taking it a day at a go. So anytime I'm behaving towards somebody, I ask myself, Abiola, will you like it? If this is done to you. So I believe that whatever we go in life, with divine guidance, we will all arrive at our planned destination. Do you need to have a plan? I think so. I think so. I think you should be able to see the cross so that when you hold the cross, and you know where you are going, then what happens is that as you trample upon thorns and stones, you are sort of like get up 10 times, you fall 10 times, you get up 10 times, you fall 10 times, you get up 10 times. What gives you that energy is your ability to see the cross, that this is where I'm going. So that when the distractions and the what's the name, problem comes your way, you can still stand. That is my little input. So for all women out there, hold yourself together and know where you are going. You may not know where you are coming from, but if you know where you are going, your journey will be lighter.
You know, that is truly inspirational. You know, when you said you have gone through sexual harassment and being sacked, I'm like, oh my God. So were you sacked because of the sexual harassment in work, or what? What was
Yes.
going on there?
Well, I got into a particular company, and the man believed that he is the owner of his company. So for you to work there, young girl, you have to play with him. So he attempted it, and I told him, my dear, I'm too old for that game. And I wasn't married. But it wasn't long after I joined, then I got married. It was that he stopped talking to me. He wouldn't let me report to him. For almost I worked for him for 2 years. I never got confirmation. And then when I went to on my maternity leave, he sent me 1 month check and wrote, "You've been fired. Your service is no longer required." So I said, okay, no problem. I didn't cry. Candy, this was in December. In March, when my baby was 5 months, I dusted my CV and I started going around. I walked to Calban and I got a job. All right. But the most interesting part today is that that man is one of my cheerleaders. Anytime he sees
Wow.
my promotion or anything in the newspaper, he calls me and says, "Abiola, I know you can make it. As for you, you are very hardworking." And I laugh.
Same man who was making your life miserable. Yeah.
We are the best of friends today.
I mean, you know, life is so amazing because sometimes if you hold on to your own virtue, people can say what they like, but you have to hold on to your own virtue if you know exactly where you're going.
Oh yeah.
Well done.
The very first
Well
officer
done.
who harassed me sexually called me and said he wants to give me a land in Dodua, and I wasn't married. So I said, "How will I buy it? I don't. My salary can't buy." And he said, "But who told you his salary that all your mates are using?" And I said, "Oh, sir, don't worry. If I can't buy it, my husband will buy. If he too can't buy, our children will buy." Candy, this is all I said. Oh, this man declared me personal non grata and started fighting me seriously. He fought me and fought me. He said that every day he will look for a problem for me. When I finally left that place, today when he sees me, it's as if he doesn't know me. And most of the ladies who worked with me and saw what happened, a lot of them hold me in high. And why? Because I never let go of what I believe. There is nothing wrong if you fall in love with your boss. There's no problem. But do not give away your virtue because somebody will give you one promotion. And like I tell all the ladies, I tell them, look, ladies, we should change the narration. Let's change our narrations. Our narrations should change from equity to equality. Candy, we need to start seeing ourselves better than the male child. We need to start
We
telling
do.
ourselves, whatever a male child can do, I can do better. I remember when they were giving me the managing director of UBA. My chairman didn't believe that a woman could do it. And he didn't hide his feelings. And I told myself, I will surprise this man. But I'm happy today that more than half of the MDs are now female. And he tells them it's because I changed that narration. Whatever a male can do, a female can do better. We should stop asking equity. Oh, you have nominated 10 men, so give women 3. Oh, you have nominated 5 men, so give 2. Give women should go for that 5. So for me, that is my perception. I think of equality. I tell my female child, the difference between you and your brother is your sexual organ. It's the only difference. So whatever he can do, you can do too. So I think that should be the new narration.
The book, people are asking me about, yes, the book is on Amazon. It's called Chosen from the Darkness. And it talks about Abiola's life. Abiola is now the CEO, and in fact, is regional CEO, the whole of the Western, is it the West Africa, the CEO of the UBA Bank. Is it UAB or UBA Bank?
No, UBA, United Bank for Africa.
Yeah, UBA Bank. So, and it tells you, because her story is the typical classic, you know, rags to riches. She worked her way through with fortitude, people, with fortitude, because as she is narrating now, many things came her way and she did it. She fought her way. I want you to tell people about how, when you were in secondary school, your father then lost his job at some point, and then you had your brothers to look after, and yourself, your school fees. How did you manage?
I think it was Form 2 first time when my dad lost the job. And so even though I entered secondary school, he decided that, look, my dear, I can't afford that again. So I said, okay. So I had to, the little that he had, I had to buy sweets, chewing gum. So from my Form 2 to upper 6, throughout my university, I had to sell. I sold sweet. I think there was this, remember this Michael Jackson chewing gum? I had piece and
No.
puzzles about Michael Jackson's face, and then you've seen it. It was
No.
chewing gum in boxes, but it had different parts of Michael Jackson's face. So you need to put it together and get the full face of buying those things and coming to sell. I sold sweets, I sold bikinis, I sold panties, just to educate myself, not just myself, but also my siblings. So that's what I lived throughout for. After sixth form, I had to start all over again because I gave my capital to my mom. So by the time I got to university, I have to introduce jeans. So nobody paid my school fees to come to university.
Wow. So as you are working, you are studying, you are working, you are doing all those
Yeah.
things. I remember when I was in secondary school, or even coming out of secondary school and all of that, there was no facility for young people to work over the holidays. There wasn't, there was no, you didn't do anything really. You just holidayed and went back to school. So
No, I
for
could.
you, yeah.
I didn't have that grace. I didn't have that grace. Apart from selling on my own, when I go on holidays, I have only 2 days holidays. I have to join my mom. That is when my mom is also on leave. So I have to take care of the market. I have to go to Lagos to buy her goods. I have to do that. But Candy, it's, you see, those were the things that has also built me to be able to take this career to the next level. People ask,
Yeah.
where do you get your energy from? But it is those experiences that God took me through that has given me that fortitude. That's why I keep saying that no matter what we go through today, you need to take it positively, because those are the things that you need for tomorrow. So it was good. I did a lot on my own and for my mom.
I'm telling you, women are falling in love with you on this show.
Oh, thank
Everyone
you.
thinks
Thank
you
you.
are amazing. No, it's true. You see that because you are so humble and so I don't know what it is, but there's something, and I think these are the qualities we all need. We need to be calm, forgiving, determined, and humble. We really do. Somebody like you who has gone through all of this situation, financial trouble and all of that, growing up, coming up, struggling, working for yourself to try and get money to pay fees, to help your siblings, etc. You have got to this top level in life, and yet you are sharing the information with everyone. Some people would hide it. Some people will never admit it. I know people who, when they get to a certain stage, they forget their story because they are embarrassed about it. Let me give you a story. I went to same school as you did, and years later, this is last year or the year before, one of my classmates' father died. He passed away. He was a very powerful doctor. He used to work in countries like Dubai. The Arabs would, beg for him to come, and he was all over the place. A very celebrated doctor, but he was so humble and so quiet. And he was amongst his whole family. They were very known people, but they were very humble and did their work very well. That this particular classmate of mine, she didn't know them that well. And she didn't know that his mother was also a very great woman, very well educated, who was one of the first pharmacists in Ghana, female. And this girl, my classmate, asked me that, but who are these people? Because I didn't know them when we were young. In fact, I was gobsmacked. Do you have to know them? Do you have to know their story, their backstory, before you respect who the person is today? That really upsets me. But that has been the thing about some of the people that we deal with. People do not know other people's stories. They don't know from whence they came from. But there is another issue, and I will tell you. What people don't realize is that even if today your father is a great man, maybe his grandfather suffered the same way. We really need to start respecting each other a lot. We need to talk to our people. We need to teach people to respect where people are. Madam, I am so glad I've met you. I am so glad that I am speaking to you, with an audience, for people to know you, to see you, to think about their children, what they are living, to think and regard and look at yourself. Do not feel embarrassed about your life. What is it? And all we need is to be able to feed our children. And look at you. Your children will eat steak. Your children will do all of these things, which, if someone is wondering what your background, are they asleep? Anyway, moving along, coming back to reality. So now that you are where you are, one of the questions that is very important for me is, you are married, aren't you?
Sure, I am.
So while you are married, when you are traveling around and doing all of the things that you do, where is your husband? What does he say?
My husband is also very busy, but I'm blessed. I have a husband who understands. We have 3 children. I think one of the things we need to try and do is that life is not just about your career. You need to think about the 4 cardinals of life. social life, your family life, your career life, and then your community. So you try to balance each of these up. None should suffer for the others. So what I try to do is to say that, look, I'm traveling around, but I ensure that the family does not suffer. So what do? I make sure I have people who are supporting me. I make sure I know what at any point in time what my family is. I make sure everything is home. In fact, I go to the extent of having my timetable. I want to know what they'll eat in the morning, afternoon, evening, till I come back. So I'll be communicating with the cook or whoever to make sure that they won't say, oh, mommy is not in, so there's no food. No, everything must be there. So for us women, ability to balance these cups is very important. You cannot say because you are the regional CEO, your husband comes and, oh, mommy is not in, so there's no food. Okay, go and buy cake. No, 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 it shouldn't be. You must make sure that the home front, the only absent is that I'm not there to cook. But what I try also to do is that when I am around, I take charge of my kitchen. So I can tell you everything in my freezer. I can close my eyes and tell you. Because I want to be sure that I'm in charge. So I tell the cook, go here, do this, do this. What about this? What about? So I'm on top of my issue. And my children's education.
Okay.
So in as much as we can try and balance, you can't come from work at 9 o'clock and it is at 9 o'clock the family should wait because you are the regional CEO. It should not happen. It should not happen. And they know when I'm there, I'll take care. I still go to kitchen, I still do cooking, but when I'm not around, there must be food at the time it must be there. So I try to balance the two. And so far, by God's grace, we are still together as a family. Two of the kids are now in the university. The last one is with us. So we've been balancing. And COVID has put us together by force, so we are enjoying ourselves.
Wow. So coming back to, I am, I'm still in awe of you. Now, coming back to your book, the reason why you wrote the book is what is the reason?
I wrote the book first and foremost to share my story with the girl child out there, with career women out there, and with women who are also out. I wrote Choosing from the Darkness. I titled it Choosing from the Darkness so that it will give light to women out there. They will look at the background. Every woman can relate to that book. Whether you are a housewife, or you are a career woman, or you are a girl child now growing up, Choosing from the Darkness will give you some encouragement. It will help you. A lot of people have read that book and they've called me personally. In fact, it's supposed to just give you hope. Whatever you are going through now, it is part of your journey. Another reason why I wrote the book is because I wanted every fan from that book. Not a single CD is coming to me. We are using it to support girl child out there. We set out to at least rescue over 100 girls who may have dropped out of school or have brilliant reports or results but cannot go to school because of funds. We are paying over 70 people's school fees.
Wow.
So anybody that buys that book is supporting that girl child out. The money is not coming to me. Not a single CD is coming to me. Yes, please. All is going towards the girl child. And God will bless you as you patronize that book. It's good for you. Even the males, a lot of people have bought it for their sisters, for their daughters, for their wives. So please patronize the book. I want to give assurance on this platform that I'll continue to support the girl child. There may be 1,001 Abiola out there. Please be part of their stories. Thank you. God bless you, Candy. God bless you, Candy.
People, there is the book. I've been showing it constantly out there. You need to buy the book. Once you've bought the book, you have contributed to helping a girl go to school. If you want to do more, then you can contact the Abiola Foundation. I will put that on my YouTube page. And then you can contact them and help them some more. But you see, the thing about helping a girl child, if you have a daughter, if you have, maybe the way that we live now, you cannot afford to help your cousin, son, or daughter who is in Africa, in Ghana, who needs help. I beg you, you don't need to do that. Just buy Abiola's book. Buy Abiola's book, and you have helped someone. You have helped someone go to school. Everybody on this platform is educated. You are lucky. Help someone else to be lucky. Abiola is here today. She has had I don't know, is it tumultuous? That's the word. A very amazing life story with all sorts of things. And even in this book, when you've read it, I swear, if you don't cry at certain points, then you are very tough. There is crying in there, there is laughter, and there is pure thanks to God. And that is what the whole thing is about. That is, awareness is one of the things that we all need to do. We have to open our eyes and become aware. At the moment, we are aware that white people are racist towards black people. At the moment, we are aware that to educate a girl child is real. You educate a girl child. Now, if you are lucky and your mother went to school, you are blessed. But there are lots of people whose mothers are not going to school. One of the reasons why I made this show and invited Abiola along also is something I read in the book. In the book, she says that all through her life, even when she had started working, she was still studying. She was still doing courses whilst her friends were going to party. She was still doing courses, studying, learning, so that she could better herself. So it is not just the fact that you went to secondary school or the fact that you went to Legon and therefore, or university and you've done it. No. All along the way, when you find what you are good at, study some more, open your eye, do it. You are helping your own children. You may be helping someone else's child too. And you are helping yourself. Something else I've picked up from this, and I'm talking to my Tamasi, allow Abiola to come on as well, is that even though, and notwithstanding, the fact that she had her husband all along the way who was supportive, he supported her all along the way. He's busy, she's busy. Together, they come together. They appreciate their love, their home life. They appreciate each other. That is something else as well. So, people, open your eye. Shine your eye, as the Nigerians will say. And help yourself to help your family and to help other people. Abiola, we've been on here for quite a while. And we are about to go, but is there something else that you'd like to tell us regarding the foundation thing?
Well, I want to say a big thank you to you, Candy, for giving me the opportunity. I want to also thank all your listeners. I think God has brought us together not by luck, but by destiny. God has destined that we shall meet today on this platform. I think, like you said, I want to add my voice to yours. Educating the girl child goes beyond paying school fees. And the onus on us The onus is on us to make sure that in our life, in our generation, girl child will take its right position. I am not doing the foundation because I want to collect money and chop. I'm not doing the foundation because I want to become popular. I am doing it because I look back and I say, there is nobody that is my classmate that can say when to school. It took one woman, two women, three women to bring me this far. Like I said, they didn't pay my school fees, but I felt their hand behind me. Their hand was at my back. So I am appealing to all your listeners today. Let's put our hands behind somebody. And I'm providing that opportunity and that platform to say, please, even if it's £1, even if it is $1, kindly contribute. I promise that every year I will declare the P&L, the financials. I don't mind them to put it on your platform so that everybody will see what came in and what was used. We will do it, and we'll be glad that it was during our generation that the girl child took its rightful position. Thank you very much, Candy.
Thank you too. Thank you for agreeing to come. Thank you for, now you are like my friend. Thank you for being my friend.
I am.
Thank you so much. People, as we are talking, people are coming on to the plan. Everyone keeps saying, the book, the book, the book. Here is the book.
It's on Amazon. It's on Amazon.
Yes, it's on Amazon. Someone says, if you educate a man, you educate an individual. But if you educate a woman, one woman, you have educated the whole nation. Now, look at you. From that place in Aflau, now look, they see you now, and they are, so this is how it is. People, we need to educate ourselves in such a way that we can help other people. We need to open our eyes. This is so important. Thank you very much to all my listeners. I still love you, even the ones who are annoying me today. I love you very much. Thank you for coming to share this chat with me and Abiola. And now we'll go back. People didn't hear before you came on. And I told the story of the corn. I'm going to say it again. There is a man who was a farmer, and he was such a good farmer that every year he would win the best corn in the whole town. Now, people didn't understand it, and as the years went by, he was now the best corn farmer in the whole country and then the whole area of that continent. People had heard from him far and wide. And so there was this interview where they were asking him, how come you managed to have this juicy corn and it's only your corn that people want? And he said, because I share my seeds with my neighbors. And they said, you share your seeds with your neighbors? What does that have to do with anything? He said, when I share my seeds and everyone around here is farming with my corn, when the wind blows and the pollen comes around here, it fertilizes, or it's the same seeds that fertilizes everywhere. And so continually, my corn is good. Now, the moral of the story is the corn that he shares comes back to him 100-fold. Now, to you, I say to all of you that share your corn, your little corn. An example is this book. Buy the book. You have shared your corn. In your life, around you, give, share, because that is the only way that you as an individual will amount to something. Thank you all for listening to this show. Thank you very much. I am very, very grateful. Thank
God bless
you,
you.
Abiola. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.